Sorry about that, guys. That's on me. I was moving a tree this week, and the tree fell over and ripped my fiber optics right out of the ground. So we just barely got that done today. I had to put all new fiber optics in, which was pretty cool. I didn't do it; the technician did it. So we just got it finished. So I was running a little behind. Let me bring everybody in from the backstage. What's going on? Woo!
Hi, guys.
Glad we made it. I apologize. We made it. That's my fault. We were really trying to do that. So
he's starting already. Hold on, let me mute you.
But anyways, Brittany, so we'll talk about some stuff. We'll see everybody's days going. It's been kind of shitty and rainy this week, obviously. But yeah. Been bad. I really wanted to get a lot done today, but it really didn't happen for me.
Yeah. The weather up here, it was raining all day.
Hey, Judy.
All day. I was worried that because my Wi-Fi this afternoon was like nothing was working. And then
you're still really glitchy now. Like you're really glitchy right now.
Yeah, everything today.
You got to talk to John about getting you better cable or Wi-Fi. You got to get it better.
Yeah, or I have a booster.
You need a hard line into there.
Sorry, well, I have a booster coming, so that should help me a lot.
That's going to help you a whole lot.
Yeah, I got myself one.
Jeff, we're going to talk about some cool shit with Brittany, but I'd like to hear about your trip at the Reptile Expo. Or how was that up there, man?
It was a lot of fun, actually. It was one of the most fun times I've had there in a while.
Nice. Sales
were okay. You know, it's really not about that for me when I go there. It's more about, you know, seeing people from who live far away that come in for the show and showing off the stuff that I bred this year and looking at the stuff everybody else bred and, you know, that kind of stuff. Spending too much money. You know, all that kind of shit. I definitely spent more than I made this year, but I needed to. So a little reinvestment.
Good. That's awesome.
I have a lot of cool stuff there, man. Other than
I saw a lot of cool stuff. It's a different kind of show. There's a lot more colubrids, which is really cool, and
it's about all that's left you're allowed to do.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, there was really some good variety. Of course, a lot of your ball pythons and geckos and stuff. There was tons as usual, but you had some really great colubrid breeders there, and so I got to see some really cool stuff. And, it was fun just hanging out with everybody, kind of chilling and relaxing. And, it was a good time.
Good. Any other, what kind of animals, was there some cool shit there that you hadn't seen before? Besides, I know nobody ever sees ball pythons or bearded dragons, but.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that I don't see at like typical shows, like blackhead pythons, which I'm obsessed with. I think they're just the coolest looking animals. I love that sharp.
Get one? Why don't you get yourself one?
I'm thinking about it, for the future, getting a pair and, maybe breeding them to pay for them because they're a little on the spendy side still, but they've gone down quite a bit. So, and I needed to replenish some of my adult hog noses. I lost a couple over the year and I have a lot. Oh yeah, for sure. It's the cost of doing business. And when it happens, it sucks, but things get egg bound and, I got my, I always treat like deworm everybody after the season because they get all, juiced up and all those parasites that are normally in a snake start to act up and, make them not eat well or whatever. So I usually dose everybody at the end of the year. In my first round of dosing, I used a different compounding pharmacy for my Panicure. And I think it was way too heavy of a dose and it killed 13 snakes.
I just, I've always just used Safeguard and all the reptiles, and then I get the goat Safeguard, and I'll tell you what, you can't overdose it, but it works.
That's what I'm going to do is go through the goat people next time around. I usually get it from the compounding pharmacy because it's like a tincture, like a thick kind of creamy tincture thing, and I give the same dose every year, and it always snaps my girls back. And this time I got up in the morning and I saw that I had one that had passed. And I'm thinking, well, maybe just, stress from the season. And I start opening drawers, man, all the same. So yeah, I lost about half my breeding size females, but I had a lot of good friends at Daytona that hooked me up with some yearlings and a few that were close to going. So I'll definitely get right back in the swing of it and eventually recover. So,
Yeah.
shit happens, and it's the cost of doing business, unfortunately. But and there was really nothing I could have done to know or avoid it. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. This still sucks.
Yeah. Oh, it really did.
Yeah.
I was a bit heartbroken. Sometimes you just want to throw your hands up and give up. People think that especially because I have reptiles that cost a lot, and people think that you're going to get rich or if I break even every year, I'm thrilled, and if I do anything other than that, it's just gravy. You know what I mean? I do it
Mhm.
because I love producing cool stuff, and I'd rather do it offset the costs. So it is what it is.
That's
But
pretty
yeah,
cool.
no,
I always thought, that I thought that about a lot of things. I mean, I don't. I try to stay away from it as much as I can. But the more word gets out that what you do or anything, it becomes a job. Once it becomes a job, it's
mhm.
loses its luster. And that's kind of why I kind of hide out. I mean, I can't say that I don't enjoy what I do at times, but it's just a part of it. But yeah, I know it is the cost of doing business, and some of these people that their whole life depends on it, and they keep going. I just don't understand that. And
Yeah. I do it for the fun of it and to pay for my trips that I take with it. And, I really started breeding to pay for the hobby, and it's an expensive hobby. I mean, people, they ask me why the snakes cost so much. And I just pull up my, my last 3 frozen feeder bills. It's like every week it's like I'm ordering $500, $600, $700 worth of frozen feeders. It seems like, I mean, it's not quite that much, but man, it comes up fast. You open the freezer and you're out.
yeah, I completely understand.
Oh, I know, man. I know you
I
feel that.
completely understand. Hello, Michelle. I
And
completely
Hi,
understand.
Michelle.
Completely. I
and
think
oh, go
I
ahead.
agree. No, I'm saying I agree.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. They frozen feeders in the last. It wasn't even in the last couple of years. It was in the last like 5 or 6 years have skyrocketed in price. I mean, just like not to get put too fine a point on it, but just a day old pinky. So a little pinky mouse straight out of the mom. I think I used to pay like 13 cents, which I thought was pretty high back then, and now they're about 49 cents a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I feed about 300 of those off a week if I have a lot of babies. So it's
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's why I get pissed when they don't eat them. Like, you ungrateful little motherfuckers,
Yeah, it can be. It can
You have
be.
no idea how much that cost me.
right? There's starving snakes in China, for God's sakes, that would eat.
Oh, God.
Starving snakes in China. That's funny. Yeah, I get like I just try to do things. There's so many. I just see a lot of people, especially talking to them or questions. I get a lot of questions, and people ask me, "Hey, what about this?" or "Can you do that?" and stuff. I don't mind helping people. I think that people don't. I just don't think people look at animals with the amount of credit that they deserve. I think, and so I'm gonna say a couple things to segue into what Bertie was gonna talk about tonight. I think so. I get kind of bored, and Flavia and I have always been really good at doing things that a lot of people just can't seem to figure out. There are some that can. There's some really good trainers out there. Not to take that away, but as I'll say it, as an average, most I hear it a lot, and we were having a discussion recently about somebody will be like, oh, they're like 25 years old. They're like, oh, I'm a trainer, behavioralist, and husband. You're just not. You just don't have the
Yeah,
maybe
it's
one
all
in a
gained by
million. Maybe there's
experience.
that one person, right? And it's not their fault. They just think they are. But the spectrum of animal behavior is so far out that I learn things. Seems like on the daily. Just I'm like, wow, I never noticed that before. It could be just a twitch of a pinky on one of the lemurs to where they or
Sure.
how they're communicating, and I see it. I'm like, oh, I see this now, and I think that comes with a lot of time. But like alligator training, and just if Justin was here, it would tell you alligator training is the easiest thing in the world to do. I can take anybody and have them train an alligator. Alligators are extremely easy to train. It's, I mean, I know people fluff it and try to make it look like a thing, but if these animals are so smart, and I was talking with Justin, and he's like, they can catch a 12-foot alligator. It's been in the wild its whole life, and within a week he'll have it completely habituated and trained because they're smart. And once you understand their motivation and what gets them to go, it's very easy to do. And we've been doing it a lot of years, more years than I care to admit. And I think that, I mean, because I'm getting old too, man. But I mean, I just think about, man, I remember when I was like, man, those old guys, they know how to do some shit, you know. And a lot of them are dead now. A lot of them are dead, but it's just interesting.
Not by alligators or crocodiles, by the way.
What's that?
I said not all by alligators or crocodiles.
100%. You know, just old age, man. Old age and wisdom,
Yeah.
and there's even some people that have been in the industry a really long time and still don't fully understand the animal. And they'll talk to me, and it's just like, how long have you been doing this? And what do you mean? What are you saying? Like, you're just totally inaccurate with what it's totally inaccurate. And I go by just not about what I've done and what I can do and what I'm capable of, but even all my predecessors and my people that are above me and people that are still learning from me. I mean, you learn from everybody, and there's just so much to it. And a lot of people, if you're not being flamboyantly explosive about what you do, people nowadays, everybody's led by this social media, and that's not really. I agree, Michelle. I'll put that up because I agree. I think a lot of times it's the fluff, and so they think they can go do it. You know, you can put on like an Indiana Jones hat or a fucking like whatever Steve Irwin wore, whatever those guys wear, and go out there and be like this. I'm an animal wrangler with some leaves behind you and shit. I've done more than any one of them since they've even been alive. They weren't even born when I was doing it, and I still wouldn't have jungle leaves and fucking a zoo shirt on, walking around talking about some of it's so ridiculous. You've made it so showboaty, you forgot the actual animal, and that is a living thing. You know, and I got an argument with somebody who was talking about how I cannot believe. They asked me if I eat alligator, and I said, yes, I'll eat alligators. I won't eat my alligators. I'll eat somebody else's alligators.
I'm sure
I'm
you're
not against hunting or farming or meat or any of that kind of stuff. You know, we all, you know, but this is what I like about them. These people, and I wanted to say this because we were talking about it today, and Flavia and I were talking about it, and it'll make a lot of sense when I tell you. I think that I get an argument with these people like, oh, well, how can you be an animal lover and, you know, eat meat? Now, these are people that keep snakes, alligators, crocodiles, monitor lizards, and whatever, right? So if your purpose is to not kill an animal, your desire to possess an animal and your possession to go, look at me, I own this, I'm cool, I have this, your motivation to possess that animal is greater than your care about them because you have 300 dead animals that died that you don't give a fuck about falling out and throwing to that animal, right? So when you come at me with this, oh, how can you be this person, you love me, but you're going to keep animal? No, well, that's just the way it is, you know, humans. Well, you're dead wrong, man. We're all this. We all eat meat, dude, all of us. So you can say whatever you want. When it first came out, it was like a cool thing to do, and everybody's like, oh, I eat broccoli with a little sprinkle of salt, and you know, and I have a bean and 2 nuts, and I'm healthy. Now they're starting to die off, and they've got proteins disintegrating in their brains, and there's a lot to it, man. There's a lot to it. So
yeah,
you know, when you go back to the beginning of man, the beginning of man, and you look at the beginning of man, they weren't growing, harvesting, they were killing shit, mammoths, dinosaurs, and whatever else they were eating it because they learned that the wildlife was teaching them, and it was this big circle. So you have every right to be that way as a person, and I can be challenging or confrontational, whatever the case may be, but you can be that way. But don't come out and say that someone's not an animal person, or how can you say that because you eat meat? You can only tell me that if you don't have any pets at all. That's dogs, cats, birds, nothing, and all you have in your backyard is grass and lemongrass and Tweedledee and Tinkletuffs, whatever the fuck you're growing out there. And then you can come bitch at me and I'll say, listen, that's fair. You really follow what you believe. But if you do believe that way and you have a freezer full of dead rabbits and dead chickens and dead rats and dead snakes to feed other snakes, then don't come at me with, you're not a real animal person, because you're want to say you're cool and you keep this animal. You'll feed it life, but you won't eat it. But I'm a bad person. Come on, man. Get your shit together.
Yeah, people don't want to eat. They don't want to eat cute animals. They want to eat other animals.
Get it together. That's what I tell them. Get it together. Yeah. So it's like whatever, however you want to look at it. But you get these idiots, and most of them don't. They have no experience with anything. I get up every day, and I work with a plethora of different species of animals every fucking day of my life, whether I like it or not. That day, I still do it. So, and I know that it takes life to sustain life, and that's just the way it is. And you have to understand that. And I'm not against hunting. I'm not against people doing anything. I'm not against people eating alligator. If you want to eat alligator, man. It's a free world, right? Right, B?
Mhm.
So with that, I get bored and I start to train, and I see a lot of people and they train. And Flavia and I were talking about we can find the bridge of contract or bridge of contact, and we can find their motive. And sometimes the motive is just touching, right? So I finally worked on getting my owl to shift all by himself without food.
Oh, that's great.
So I just walk in, I go, it's time to shift very consistently. And so I videoed it last night. It was pretty cool. He looks at me, he looks at his thing, he shifts. He just goes right in, dude. He doesn't eat that night. He eats in the morning. But he knows it's bedtime now. I don't got to pick him up. I don't got to mess with his feet. I don't got to put a glove down. I just ask him and he goes in. And I think that that's where it is.
That's awesome.
It's cool because I didn't have to put a rat in there. And I didn't have to do any of it. It was me putting him in and out consistently using the same word and keeping a consistent pattern. So what I'll do is to change up that pattern is I'll make it a different person one time and see how it works. So we can start causing chaos to the repetitive behavior, you know? And that's where I get into it. And I start doing the behavior stuff and really starting to play with them and learn the animals and really study them and figure it out. And I think that that's where it's at for me right now, not anywhere else. So nonetheless, I answer a lot of questions for people, and as many people as I talk to, they still don't really understand the concept of what they have in their enclosure. And I'll leave it with that. And you have anything you want to say, Jeff? And then Brittany can segue in.
I was just thinking about, you're talking about like, the showmanship of people, kind of that aren't necessarily putting, they're not working with the animal. They're just putting on a big show and distracting from, the fact that they really don't necessarily know what they're doing. So they have the gator or the croc or what have you there, and they're just going around, look at me, look at me, look at me, and you don't really pay attention to the animal. Whereas I can count on one hand the people that I would go into a big crocodilian enclosure with and feel confident and safe. It's they're easy to train, but they're probably just as easy to fuck up that way too.
100%.
If you train them improperly,
you're muted. You're muted. You're
Sorry.
muted.
Was I muted that whole time?
Yeah.
Just the end.
You said, you could train them.
Oh yeah. I mean,
absolutely not, Ricky. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'd be worried about
definitely
everything.
Not Ricky.
The alligator would be the least of my worries. Sorry about the dog, y'all. I'm trying to ignore him.
It's all right. It's animals.
Yeah, and he's behind a glass door, so he knows I'm in here, and I'm trying to get him used to me being in the office without him because it's a no animal allowed zone because there's spiders in here and stuff. But what was I saying? So I imagine it's just as easy to teach them bad habits.
It is,
and have them, learn the wrong way of doing things. What I'm trying to say here. So that, somebody else goes in that enclosure and they get bit, or, the animal doesn't do what they want, or, it's just a shit show all around. Oh, I'm frozen. We're all frozen.
But I can hear you though. You're still
okay.
Good.
You can hear the dog too, I imagine.
I do, and I think what's cool is, and I'm not saying that everybody out there that does that doesn't know what they're doing. And so make no mistake, for those of you that are doing your thing and you're doing well and know your animals, more power to you. It's the copycats, right? That try to do what a lot of these people do that have made a good living at it. And some people are a little bit more, I would say, maybe a little more careless and more resilient than I would be, that to where I couldn't risk the chance of losing something like my business or my fingers or my arm. It's just, sometimes it's just not worth it, and it's not worth it to the animal either. Cause a lot of times the animal suffers for something that we made it. And that's just really where I'm at. But anyways, Brittany, you were talking about, animals using a terrestrial language. So you've been doing some research recently that I'm really interested in, I think. So I'll kind of lead in with that. I think we kind of lost Jeff. You want me to bump you, Jeff, and bring you back in, or how do you want to do it, bud? I think your signal went to bam.
Yeah, I think
I'm on a brand new fiber optic, so I know I'm coming through smooth today.
Yeah, you've been good. You've been nice and clean.
Brand new. Like they unroll out the truck, dude. Put the little. They go, oh, well, we're gonna have a team here. Jeff will pop back up. We're gonna have a team here to bury it for you. So now I've got orange flags in my yard and this whole bunch of like black fiber optic wrapped line up to my house, and then they got to come bury it and all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least you know that is gonna work.
And I'll tell you, the boosters
And
are.
it'll
I
be
know
fast.
the boosters are really good, and they're worth the money.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know how John feels about it, but they are definitely worth the money.
He actually got a booster, which I didn't know, but he got a booster for the office, for his office. So yeah, that's
I
why
mean,
I
if
was
he's
like,
doing a lot of
I
the
need
thing
one.
is if you're doing what we're doing here,
Yeah,
and we're drawing a lot of data, there's the 500 down. If you draw that, you do well with some boosters, or you just move up to a terabyte and really works good. I think a booster will be really good for you.
yeah. I went ahead and went with the booster, but for him, I know that on our plan we went to the highest possible because of his work. He's on video calls all day long with his job.
Yep, you need it. That's why I was saying
Yeah.
you can move up to it. But yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know what happened to Jeff, but while we're waiting with Jeff, we can catch him up. And I really want to hear about what you were talking about, animals being a clairvoyant. I think that your studies with that paranormal is interesting, and I think people really like to hear that. And I think you should kind of take off with it and tell me what you got.
Yeah, I jotted some stuff down from like historical notes from the early 1900s all the way to like the 1950s and 60s because
Sure.
I found this extremely fascinating PSI in animals, which is clairvoyance or supernatural tendencies or behaviors in animals, like where they're able to use their mind in different ways. And the science behind it at the time was very, I mean, let's just be honest, in that time, people were like, animals are dumb. That they're
Sure.
you just train them like a circus cow and they're going to do what you want them to do. But that wasn't always the case. So I dug a little deeper into it because in a recent article that just came out, really recent, they discovered that dogs, it's not that they used to think that our pitch and our sound would mean certain things for dogs, and that's what would make them trigger and be like, oh, okay, when their octave goes up a little bit they mean this, or they're really happy to see me if they're talking to me really high, or when they're yelling at me. Like they thought that animals like dogs worked like that, but
Okay.
they actually did a science on the dog's brain, and it comes out that now the science behind it is stating that the dogs actually understand human language. But when we speak, they actually understand as if you're training like a toddler to learn how to talk to words. They're learning what those words.
You're talking about wildlife, it's called vocabulary. You can
Yeah.
train vocabulary into animals. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they've also in the last 2 years, they've also discovered that there are certain animals, and possibly the entire animal kingdom can be taught how to speak actual words and actually speak to you. But it's a practice that's really never been taught except for an orca. And the orca could actually say her trainer's name. She could say certain types of words, and she started to pick that up after listening to her trainer say them over and over again, because she was basically teaching her speech therapy of using vocabulary within their words. So
Which that means, in my opinion, they'd have to dumb down.
Who, us or them?
The whales would have to dumb down, I think, because
the orcas would.
Yeah, their vocabulary is far greater than ours. What their sounds mean and how they communicate. So they would have to dumb down to learn how we communicate.
Yeah, it's almost, yeah, they do, because
I would think
they speak more throughout their brain to one another through certain octaves and sounds and vibrations, to where that's a higher frequency of brain functioning that we have not yet to learn. And something I think I just want to toss in there really quick. I was talking to a friend of mine he's an anthropologist and studies primates. And I think that you'll find this very interesting, Troy. They have discovered that gorillas have the ability to use infrasound.
Okay.
Which I think is huge. It's a huge, and it's a brand new topic being explored and discovered within primatology, based on an air pocket that they inflate in their chest cavity, and they use the palms of their hands and they beat it like they would with an infrasound, like you would with the muscle within the air pocket, like birds.
Which they pretty much make an interesting popping sound when they do it.
Yeah. And it's at such a low frequency. It's below the 80, I think it might even be below the 40 hertz, that it creates the infrasound to other males. So they believe it might be used to debilitate another male so that they can win and get that male out away from their group. So I just found that extremely fascinating. I wanted to share that with you on another note. But back to clairvoyance. So again, this still is in the wheelhouse of how intelligent animals are and how animals are evolving, and we're not paying attention to it at all. Like crazy.
Right.
So anyway, so there was a horse by the name, and excuse me for looking off the sides, just where my notes are, so I make sure I get all the information
fine. Hey, Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Sorry, guys, I had to restart.
That's okay.
That's all good.
We're just talking about animals learning human language, and they possibly have studied where gorillas can use infrasound, which is interesting. Infrasound is a very interesting thing, and there are animals that do it. But yeah, go ahead, Brittany, finish up. I just want to catch Jeff up kind of since you're in the middle.
Yeah. So this will be interesting for all of us to discuss because I have my personal take on this after reading it, and I encourage everybody else. So I'll give you guys the names, and then afterwards I'm going to send you guys the kind of the links and so forth that I did my digging into. But most recently, I had been to the library and were pulling studies of animals with clairvoyance, PSI, different types of psychological or psychic abilities, as they would put it. So in the 20th century, there was a horse by the name of Lady who was known as the clairvoyant horse. It was an actual, like, really famous case to be studied because this animal and her psychic abilities. So the owner, her name was E.W. Rogers, and she was said to answer questions by tapping out responses with her hooves. And these could also be a wide range of basic arithmetic or even types of complex issues. And so they went to a scientist came to actually do different types of testing on her to see if the horse actually had these abilities or if it was taught cues by the owner. So the horse was doing it out of memory. However, Lady did show that she had abilities that the owner did not teach her. So she was doing self-thought and thinking when asked certain questions and how to respond by clicking her hooves to the response and spelling alphabetically the words.
That's crazy.
So she was also compared to another horse who was known as Clever Hans in Germany in the 1900s. So Hans' ability was claimed that he was a horse who was said to be able to perform arithmetic, just like Lady, tell time, so he could actually look at time and tell you what time it was, and even understand German language, which is quite awesome, quite honestly. So again, Clever Hans in Germany, which was not in the United States, Lady was United States, and Hans was in Germany. This horse also would answer questions by tapping his hooves and spelling out the word, which to me is extraordinarily impressive. That's a lot to teach a horse if you're going to spend that much time with a horse. So Lady, if anybody wants to know, her whole name was Lady Wonder. She was between 1920s and 1950s in the United States, and she was such a wonder that they really scientifically pursued her. Now, the horse that I found interesting was called Beautiful Jim Key. So it's Jimkey. And this horse was around the late 1800s to early 1900s. So obviously we know horses live over 30 years. So he was, somewhere in there. So Jim Key was a horse that was said to be able to read, write, spell, do math, and even cite Bible passages. The former owner was a slave who was a self-taught veterinarian and spent all of his days with this horse. And he said, when asked, how did this horse learn all this and how is this horse so intelligent? He basically said it comes from kindness and patience with your animal, which I agree. When you have that kind of patience, you can get these animals to do that. What I loved about that animal is that it could spell and do math. It could literally do it all, and it could read. I mean, to me, that's just extremely impressive. Another one, which I know I'm going to butcher the name, is Elderfield horses in Germany. It was a group of horses that were being tested in Germany that could actually solve complex mathematical problems and understand multiple languages. So they were
humans can't do that.
No. And even expressed opinions by tapping their hooves to answer how they were feeling that day. Now, when the scientific community got involved, like I said, they believed that a lot of this was self-taught cues, but what they decided to do was separate owners from the animals and mix up. So like Troy was just mentioning, even though Leonard knows his process, and Troy's like, I think I'm going to throw somebody else in there and just make sure it's not just me. Maybe he does know it. That's basically what the science did. And the scientists came out feeling pretty silly when the horses still responded and knew exactly what to do and understood them in different languages.
Well, let me jump in for a minute because I want to tell the audience too.
Yeah.
Some interesting shit. What years was this?
This would have been, it started in the late 1800s all the way up into the 1950s when all these testings were going because they couldn't believe that horses were this intelligent.
All right. Well, let's think of how many. I'll give you the number 36. So if you think of let's just say from I think it was 1850 to 1950, 36 elephants were executed, right?
Oh, yes.
Publicly executed in front of other elephants and people because they would have trainers that would use hook spikes, blunt objects, and abuse them. And when they would retaliate because they were intelligent, so you have these people that are talking about, oh, my horse can spell, but you have elephants that are by far way more intelligent than a horse. I'm just telling you, I know.
I have an elephant case for you too. Yeah.
I just already know how elephants are awesome, and I there's a friend of mine has an elephant, amazing, and we learned so much. But they're just super intelligent. But so there was, I'll just tell you. So during that time, there was 36 elephants between 1850 and 1950 were killed publicly. I remember one was electrocuted. Took them quite a long time to do. The other one was hung. They were trying to hang it by its neck, and then they broke the crane chain snapped, and it landed and broke its pelvic bone. So it lay there and suffered, screaming until they rechained it. While there was a mob of human beings standing there, cheering it on like it's a cool thing to do, right? And then you find that before 1920, all the history was changed. All the science, all the alkaline studies, all the studies on your diet, all the studies on it was all changed. Right? It's like we went back into caveman time after the 1920s, and everybody was a big dummy again. Like, well, we're going to take this out, and we're going to, you got Rockefellers involved. There's so
government
much
involved.
There's so much to it now, and these people that are in the positions that let that stuff out or be known, you're just farmed. You're farmed yourself. Yeah. Nobody wants you better. Nobody wants you well. Nobody cares. Human beings are a business. Animals are a business. And everybody's got a cause within it. So it's interesting that all this training and science was going on, but we'll publicly just brutalize an elephant.
Yeah.
And execute it in front of its other elephants to teach it a lesson. That didn't teach anything but vendetta, right? All that taught was segregation and vendetta. The elephants will remember.
Of course.
That's what they say. Over
time,
never forgets.
That's right.
Over time, they kill. They'll kill you. And they have a right to.
Yep.
There are some people that have elephants that have them on huge properties, and the elephants are bonded. And I don't care what anybody fucking says. Not one person will say, well, they should be in the wild and do that. They're not happy. That is not true. That is not true. Those elephants are content with their human families. They're treated like part of the family. They have plenty of space to do whatever they want to do. They have plenty of stuff. They can't go back out on their own. They'd never be accepted into one of those big herds of elephants. It doesn't even make sense. But you can see the way these animals love their people.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even say their owner, their people, their companions. And they do so much when they could kill you in a second.
Yep.
They could kill you. And break the fence and leave if they really wanted to do it. They could find a way. And so it's interesting to me how we did so much killing and so much science. So it's like we're babies again, Jeff, and we're learning everything all over again. It's so crazy to me. So crazy to me.
But what's fascinating, though, on these particular cases that I found interesting, it was almost as though they were trying, the scientific community at that time, the old school mentality was basically, well, this can't be because we're the superior race, right? So there's no way that animals are smarter than us. We're supposed to be better and more intelligent than them. But we're
superior species.
Yeah, exactly. What did I say?
Race.
Oh, I had a Britneyism, excuse me. Yeah, a superior species. We were supposed to be above that. So we cannot we cannot have an animal that's more intelligent than us. Like that's just because that goes against everything in our history books. So God forbid, you know what I mean? Like what the fudge? Like we can't have that. But even though if I strip you down and I put you out in the plains of Africa with a male lion, I would love to see who survives because I can guarantee you right now.
A female lion would probably be worse, actually.
Well, true. Yeah. Well, yeah, because they do all the hunting and the male lays around. But no matter what, if I throw you to the pride, there's no way you mofo. I don't care how sharp your nails are or how gritty your teeth are. You're not getting away.
You're in their element. It's the same when you're with crocodiles. If you're in the water with them, and that's it. Or hippopotamus. You're fucked.
Yeah. Humans, we have
Oh, yeah.
this.
Those are no joke.
Humans
Oh my
have
God,
this
dude, you ain't kidding.
like high horse mentality that I sometimes wish people would just get knocked off their high
Well, now,
horse.
Brittany,
Like those that
signs. There's some signs to that, and you can come from, a creationist theory, which I stay away from because I think to me, that's poison. But if you think about just the process of humans, and if we evolve, let's just say we even were half of what we are today, and we had intelligent life form from another planet, integrate us, to breed with us, to make us do stuff they need, we would be a superior creature. Like, we are very creative. Like we're super creative and we do amazing things, but we have no boundaries. How's that sound?
yeah, that yeah.
I think that's I mean,
well,
right?
we don't even use our full percentage of our brain. What else are we capable of? Then we would be superior. But most of us
horses aren't
don't.
building skyscrapers and stuff. We have a drive to go further, right?
No,
We're not,
yeah, no,
we're not,
of course.
No, listen what I'm saying. We're not content just sitting. I mean, some people are. I know there's a couple in my life that are content just sitting around. I mean, and they just sit around. That's just who they are. But the human species keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Lizards aren't sitting around a leaf going, "Hey, man, you ever think what it'd be like if we get on that big white thing in the sky? I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. It's always lit up at night. Maybe we should try to get there." Maybe they are saying that. I don't know.
You never know. There might be one trying that.
We always have a drive, and I think that's where humans. Get that superior feeling. Superior.
Yeah, I agree.
I there's something more to it that we've been in the blind with, I think.
Yeah,
that's just my
opinion.
What you're
saying.
Just an opinion, a theory, but
yeah,
we do have that drive. And I've always said, Jeff, and why the fuck are we so driven? Yeah, we got this. Why are we so driven for gold?
Yep. Shiny.
Nothing else cares about it.
Man. We're
except for ostriches do. By golly, you wear something shiny by now.
I wish I think about this, right?
Birds in general.
Jeff, think about I think that
greedy
was
bastards.
Hey, what's up, Jimmy?
Yes, hippos do kill more people in Africa than crocs here. 100%.
Yes, they do.
So here's the deal. This is what I was thinking,
Michelle.
Jeff. We have this drive for gold.
Right.
And remember the gold rush? It was every dirt poor
not that old, but
wagoneer with a bag of rice and 3 goats that he was living off of while he was hunting. Who the fuck was paying for all this gold that they were finding?
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can think of people, right? We can think of what they were like, but how did they know that? How did they have that much knowledge to get the common man, the below average man, to go out and hunt gold? Isn't that kind of a neat thing to research? Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's they obviously were very forward thinking, and they recognize the rarity and the demand.
Or they were taught it.
Yeah,
and they lived, Jeff. They lived.
And gold. I mean, if you think about where gold was found, it wasn't in areas that were densely populated. So you take something from like California, from like Sutter's Mill or wherever, and bring it to New York or what have you. It's something that people can't get, and whatever people can't get, they want.
And they needed it though.
Yeah,
man. They needed it for watches. They needed it for it's always for technology. You have to have gold for technology. That's just
gold,
quartz crystals,
palladium for catalytic converter.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Yeah, good old catalytics. Isn't that crazy though? That's what I mean. Like,
yeah.
So somebody was aware of that ahead of time. And here's another thing. It doesn't matter what race you are in the world. I don't care if you're red, yellow, black, or white, dude. Everybody will do whatever it takes to wear a gold chain or buy something gold. For who the fuck? I don't give a fuck about gold myself. I don't really care about it. I would never wear it. It's not my thing. But
person.
I mean, gold just is to some people. People like gold, like Mr. T liked gold. But I will see these guys, and they'll be in there to jewelry stores buying this big gold chain, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 for a chain you wear around your neck, bro.
That somebody else can snatch them
because it's gold. When you can just wear one that's stainless steel, looks just as good, dude.
Yep.
But because it's gold, is it a status thing?
Guy. So I like platinum, palladium, white gold, silver. I like the white metal.
I love stainless steel and silver, sterling silver. But I think that I just think it's interesting because You'll do all that for what? So
Prestige, status.
right, and
Exactly.
that's bullshit because that's not you. You're a dirt brokey that either stole or spent every bit of savings you had. That doesn't give you any status because an elitist doesn't care what you walk in with. They're going to kill you and take that chain. Or when you die, they're just going to dig you up and steal it off your goddamn corpse. So to me, it's interesting. Gold has always been intriguing to me for that reason.
And a lot of times too, those individuals, they would get a certain allotted money, but they were like, they would do all this hard ass labor and work and then just throw it onto a train and ship it off to the bigwigs. And they would never really see much of the value of what they took their time to dig up, which wasn't very much.
And giving women jewelry. That started somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that started
in some fucking place.
Dawn of time.
Just like Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day and, you know, Dog Day and Doggy Parents Day and all this bullshit where people go out and spend money on paper cards. It started somewhere to be like, oh, if you really love your woman, you'll give her a diamond from sale. What the fuck are you telling people? Okay, so this motherfucker now spent all his money. Now you don't have your phone's not working. Your light bill's not paid. You don't have any groceries, but you can walk around with your stupid ass fucking diamond on your finger wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hood rich.
I was never a big diamond
what are we
jewelry person.
People, man, what are we teaching people?
Yeah, manipulation and power of the mind.
I'm not saying there's a lot of people like that have this desire to be greedy and love money. I've done that in my life. I remember I just want to make money. I don't really give a fuck that much anymore, honestly. Do I stress when I need to make it? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want it like I did before, where it's everything to me and it's all that matters to me. Like if Brittany's like, hey, I really would like to get this, and I have all that money, I'm like, here, just get it.
What you've done for me.
But I would do that.
I
don't care. Like I'm telling you, I'm not a greedy fucker. If somebody can't afford something, I don't feel like I'm being like arrogant or whatever. But if I have a friend or something and I want to do something with them and they're like, look, you know, I'm trying to support this, or I'm trying to pay this bill down, or my hospital bill, or pay for my family, I'll pay for it. If I can do it, I just feel like when the universe gives me shit, I give it back. I don't,
right.
If everybody thought like that, the world would be a much better place. But if people are too proud to take help, I'm like, well, if someone comes to me and goes, look, I know you need help and I want you to take this. I didn't ask. You're coming to me. Right? Yeah. So that means you're trying to do good and be disrespectful for me to tell you to fuck off. I think.
I'd rather spend my money making other people smile than me. I
love that. Me too.
It's so like, and sometimes I've done it to a fault, you know. I mean, I went through a marriage where I was good to a fault. I would do anything and just to make that person happy. You know, that's just the way I am. And obviously I've toned it down a little bit. I'm nobody's doormat, but I love taking care of people, man. I love making people's day. Just stupid shit like paying for somebody's meal that's behind me in line, or I don't know. You know, the other day I was on my way to Daytona. I was driving up International Speedway, and there was a guy with a sign that said, need money for beer, why lie? So I opened the window and gave him a couple bucks. I'm like, here you go, man. I like it.
Because of his honesty.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the guy's like, hey, I want to get drunk. I was like, I can support that. I've wanted to get drunk before, especially if my life sucked. That's all I'd want is to, you know, get stupid, you know, drunk or high and forget about the world.
And I said, man, I believe in the universe does things. And I think we overlook a lot of it.
Yep.
And things come your direction for a reason. And sometimes you can take that to somebody and they don't even realize it, dude. It's like right there, but they're so pre-concerned with whatever else they have going on in their life that they don't even see the forest for the trees at that time. But it's always right there.
Yeah.
It's always right there. I'm guilty, man. I've shut the door on a lot of things I should have never done that to, just because I was either too proud or thought I didn't need it or whatever. But I mean, there's always something there. And so when the earth gives me something, I like to give back. You know, when someone comes out and they're smiling like, oh, I get to do this. Yeah, because you know they really want to. And at that point in time in their life, they can't do it, right? So if they can't do it, doesn't mean they don't want to. They just can't, because their priorities are important to them. So when someone's taking their priorities and making that important, I don't mind helping. Jeff, you don't mind helping?
Oh, hell no.
I mean, I don't know about Brittany, but I mean, most of us.
I've done it a lot. I like doing something good for people.
Me too, man. I like, you know, I did, because we're going to be dead, dude. This is just a journey.
Can't take it with you.
And, and those little things, you remember those things, man.
And
I remember things that were done for me in my past. I'll
absolutely,
never forget them. I'll never forget them.
Mhm.
absolutely, and you know, even you know, with losing all those animals, I had some people really. I didn't tell a lot of people because it's a bit embarrassing to kill off half your herd.
Bro,
But
people, that's not, but you're a man and you admit it, dude. You admitted
Yeah.
it's his. You made a mistake.
for sure, for sure, and
Some people would think you were a hero killing snakes.
no doubt, no doubt, and a couple people really stepped up and hooked me up and took real good care of me, and you know, it's that whole you know, rising tide lifts all ships philosophy.
Yep.
That, you know, if everybody's happy, everybody's happy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think there's a lot of things like people give me things. I try to wear the stuff that's given to me, and I try to,
Oh yeah,
or if I get something like say somebody sends me something from the the internet or whatever, and they're like, oh, you tried our product, or whatever. Yeah, sure, I give it away.
So.
Like here, Daniel, I don't need these. I gave him these little pods or whatever. He liked them. They worked for him. And he's like, bro, I love these things. I didn't need them. You know what I'm saying? I know they work good because he said so. So I said, hey, they were really good. Everybody loved them. Great,
Pay it
thanks.
forward, man. Hopefully somebody will
Yeah.
give you something you need someday, and you know, and don't.
And they will. And it's happened to me. And that's why since that's happened to me, when I get it, I just want to give it back.
Yep.
And like you said, to a fault, like even at your own thing. And I think that
Absolutely.
a lot of people forget that. And then but you're going to find that a lot of times, Jeff, when you need people, they're not there for you. So don't ever expect it.
Oh no, I don't, man. I
don't ever expect it because they won't be there
like
for you when you need them. They'll have an excuse.
You know, and you know, I've kept my friends group pretty small over the last couple of years. I have a lot of acquaintances. I have hundreds and hundreds of acquaintances, but you know, I could probably definitely count on, you know, inside of both hands the people that I consider close friends. You know, like you know, it's I have my girlfriend calls them shovel friends. You know, it's people who would help you bury a body and not say a goddamn word. You know, it's your shovel friends. They got a bag of lime ready and an extra shovel, and you know, you dig a hole twice as fast. Not that I would ever do anything like that, but you know.
No, we get the thing. You know,
It's all
this is what I say.
yeah,
There's been
all
times there's been times in my life, Jeff, and I'm sure you'll get what I'm saying, where people will do this, and Brittany too. Like, you'll just want to hang, or you want to talk to somebody, or make a call, but they're always something else is more important to them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, their phone. You know, doing this or doing that. They don't give a fuck about you, but when they need you, you're there. But here's what I remember, because I was guilty one time of doing that. I'm just never going to be that person again. And I had a friend, his name was Joby, and he did a lot for me, especially when my father was carjacked and all that stuff. Took care of business. And he kept asking me, hey, man, I just got this new bike. I want you to come ride with me, dude. You got to check it out. I want you to hear it. It's awesome. And I kept like, yeah, I'll come over. And he asked me to come on this one Saturday. And I could have went, Jeff, but I just didn't feel like it. Right? I felt like being lazy. He died that night, man. He died that night. He got ran over by a van and died. And I'll remember that the rest of my life. Like I could have got up and did something about that. I mean, I know that's the way the universe wanted it.
Sure.
That's the way it had to be. But I could have went there. We could have taken an extra 2 minutes talking in the driveway.
Hindsight.
He'd be alive.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. Hindsight.
Or in the flip universe, we both could have been killed. But the point is, I'll always remember that. And when somebody asked me something, I didn't realize that was the last time he was going to ask me.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
You know? So nobody in my life is more important than when someone says, hey, you know, I just want to chill, or I want to chat, or I want to talk, or I need you, because
need a friend. Absolutely.
That's that person that never reaches out. When they do, man, you pay attention. And I didn't, and I'd be guilty of that. So I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
And no matter what you hear about any of us in our circle, you know, where they talk about us, or we're this or that, or we're terrible people, or whatever. We're some terrible motherfuckers when you.
We really are, dude. We take care of everybody, and you know, it's and you know, you're like that. I know for a fact. You know, you've helped me out on more than one occasion, and you know,
help me too, Jeff. It's all good, man. Like, man, that's the way it is.
Yeah, the same people that are my shovel friends are the same people that I actually answer the phone for and don't send a voicemail when they call. I hate talking on the phone. You know, I answer the phone for like 6 people. You're one of them. You know, when you call.
Oh, I know you don't really like being on the phone, so I'm like, all right, I'll just tell Jeff real quick.
It's all good, man.
I already know you don't like chatting that long, so I'm like, all right, here's the deal. Okay, cool. I'm good with that.
At least you got something to say. I hate conversations about nothing. It's the worst when people call you. I've had significant others, and I'm at work or whatever, and they'll call me. I'm like, "What's up?" Because obviously there's got to be a reason why they're calling me while I'm at work. Oh,
Sure.
nothing. Just wanted to chat, and I'm like, "Okay, what do you want to chat about?" Oh, nothing. Just wanted to say hello. I'm like, "All right, hello, and see you soon." If you got an
sometimes
agenda,
they just
something pops up,
sometimes there's
Just
just
not a
some
phone
people that
talker.
just need that too, Jeff. Like I
which
just
is fine, and
they
hey,
could be right on the ledge and they want to talk to you
I'm
for a
all
minute. They're
over
like,
that.
okay, that's Jeff. I heard him. I know it's good. I'm good now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I'm totally happy to do that. I'll sit all night on the phone with a friend in need, without a doubt. I just
Yeah.
mean, the conversations when people call you and they're like, I have no idea what I want to talk about. I just feel like
Yeah,
calling
I know what
somebody,
you mean. I know what you mean.
to say
You
hi.
don't, listen, dude, I get a lot of that from people I don't even know.
They'll call me and
They'll
like,
start
what's
a
up? Like,
conversation with me. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. And then it gets weird. I'm like, okay, goodbye.
Oh, I have like, I don't give out my phone number for work. I do everything via email, text, whatever. And
Which is good.
people, oh, without a doubt, I don't want people calling me in the middle of the night. I found out it was on my articles of incorporation, so I changed it on there. But a lot of times I'll be doing like a messenger text or Instagram text, and people try to call me via the Instagram text. I'm like,
I
look,
get that too, man.
I don't take phone calls on that. I'm sorry, man. This is
If I don't know you, dude, don't do it.
right, and I don't
Mhm.
keep business hours. So people, they want to talk about a snake at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I'm happy to do it in text. I don't want to get on the phone and first of all, I'm probably high as the day is long by that point in the day. I'm 3 edibles deep and whatever else.
Relaxing.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm trying to get away from smoking and get way more toward eating, so I can save my lungs a little. And I just want to relax and I want to enjoy my little buzz and watch some stupid TV and eat too much ice cream and crap. That's all I want to do. And if I have to send a text about an animal, I'm all over it. But I don't want to get on the phone and answer a bunch of questions. And
I feel bad sometimes, man, because I'll open up Instagram just to scan and I've got my messages are fucking ridiculous and I got to get through all that shit.
yeah,
And I'm not talking about just like family or whatever. I'm talking about there are random people that I know, people from the show. I haven't even got to their messages yet. It's not that I don't want to. It's just
right.
I haven't even worked my way down. I saw one time I was with Justin. I saw Justin. We had 3,100, 200
Man.
something messages that he in his
2,100
Instagram.
were marriage proposals. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get through all these, and then people start getting mad. But guys, you got to understand that it's not that somebody doesn't want to. Just it's that volume with that amount of volume that people have access to you. It's different, And
Yeah. No,
I'm not
I
saying
agree.
that I'm not thankful that people want to talk to me. I am. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
You guys understand this. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'll get there.
If it takes some time, absolutely. I could have 5 messages, and sometimes it'll take me all day to get through them because I'm out doing snake stuff when I'm not working, and then I'm working. We lead busy lives. We both have multiple jobs and multiple businesses, all 3 of us going on at the same time, plus our social media stuff that we try to keep up with, and me and Brittany have kids that we have to keep up with, and they need school clothes, and we need to go out and do this and that and sports and whatever. It's a busy life, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade my life for the world, but it does take up a lot of time, and I do try to get back to people when I can. But now that with the talking animals, I think I'm gonna have Captain actually start calling people.
I was just gonna bring that up. When he's challenging Jeff, he knows that Jeff does not want him in there.
Yeah. Oh, he's outside right now in the yard barking it.
Here, let me talk to Michelle real quick. She said she hadn't talked to Justin since November. It happens, and she said we used to talk on a regular. Listen, Justin is usually glued to my hip, and I don't talk to him sometimes for long periods of time. We used to call him Justin Ditch. He would just be gone. He would be gone, dude. Like that's just who he is. He's been like that the whole time, and he's like a younger brother to me, and he still does me like that. So he will pop back out. I just don't want anybody to feel special if Justin doesn't return a call because
I talked to him
a whole year.
Yep.
A whole year.
Like, we'll go a year between my talks.
I just had to dip out. I had to dip out and get my head in the game. I'm like, okay, a fucking year, guy, a whole year, Jay. God,
Jay.
So
just
like he tells me,
long.
I'll be there tonight. And he'll call me after the show. Yeah. So when are we going on? I'm like, motherfucker, you knew we was going on. What you mean, man?
I remember the first time I met him. We were supposed to meet him down in the Everglades. I think we were in Fort Lauderdale up by his place. And he's like, yeah, I'll meet you guys down there. And we're driving. You're like, he ain't coming.
That's just how it is, dude. That's just Dustin. I already know that. When he shows up, it's like he'll tell you, I'll be there Tuesday. He didn't tell you in 2023 he'll be there Tuesday in 2024.
He didn't specify, for sure.
He didn't give you a specific Tuesday.
I'm like, 8 months later, he showed up on a Tuesday. He's like, hey, man, I'm Cuban. I go, yeah.
I'm here, yeah. He's on CPT, Cuban people time for sure.
Right. I get it, bro. I get it. But yeah, so
when he does show up, it's a fucking blast. So
it is.
It's worth it. I mean, the one time he did show up down there, you guys caught that caiman, and it was a good night,
Oh, yeah.
You got in the water and dove for that goddamn little thing.
Oh yeah, we had a good time, and Justin and I and Brittany, obviously, we've been on the road for months, dude, together.
Yeah.
Months. Me and Justin spent every fucking night hanging out, talking at the end of the night, man, defusing and calm me down. Right afterwards, I'm like, bro, we need to fucking burn, dude. Gotta burn. It got to the point I'd be burning while we were working. I'm like, man, I can't do it. I'm gonna do this. So you'll see.
So dude, when
I'm like, Troy's on a roll there. You'll see. I just think it's coming, man. Believe me, I already want to talk about what we've done, but we just have to be. We're just still. We have to.
We're like this close to it, though. Like this close to me.
I know we got masters, man. We got masters. I can tell you that it will be seen.
I'm excited.
A lot of people in October.
Excited and
yeah, a lot.
It's I just want to
call out of the blue, man.
But
listen, we got an opportunity, dude. It was to me. It was like, was there some bullshit involved? Yeah, it's like winning the lottery, man. You got some bullshit.
You got good with the bad.
I'm gonna say we got the universe blessed us and we ran with it, dude. And I think that hard work for decades pay off, and you just keep true to that game. So whatever you're doing out there, whatever it is you want to do, man, just keep at it. I know a lot of people go, that's not true. That's not true for everybody, but it is. It is. It is. I know there's people that have like stage 4 cancer and they're dying. It's okay, man. There's another journey. It just, you got to just be true to the one you're on now and what you want to do. And it doesn't matter. And I find that the closer we get to it, the more bullshit happens, dude. Golly, if it's not the truth.
Yeah.
It's like anytime you go in the right direction, you get kicked the fuck down.
Yeah. It's the challenges of life.
And that's where I really think we got to do it, man. And so we were blessed. We got to run with it. That's the most I've traveled with Brittany probably in my entire life.
Outside of living with us.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to remember, Brittany I was 12 when Brittany was born. So by the time she was old enough, ours already moved out. So being on the road that long with Brittany and all of us up. Oh, he's still here. He just went off for a minute. It was fun. So for those of you, we got a big thing coming in. As soon as we can talk, I'll be definitely doing that. We'll be talking about it.
I know. I'm biting at the bits too.
Me too. I asked every day, what's going on, guys? What's going on? How are we looking? Let's keep moving. So, at the end of the day, man, I'm excited for everybody to hear about it. Everybody's going to have a good time with it. You're going to laugh. We'll be a household name. We'll have a good time. It'll be fun, man. It'll be a good time. And hopefully we just run with it for many years and we just really have a good time out of life, man, because we're all going to the same place, man. Right in the ground.
Yep.
Dust and bones.
That's right.
Oh, we end up.
Dust in the wind, just a memory.
Yep. No,
not even for that long.
I know
you guys. You traveled a lot. Sorry, Brittany. Go ahead.
No, you're okay.
I was just saying, sometimes, when you get something good in your life, it's still like fighting, trying to walk into a hurricane. You get forward a little bit and you get pushed back a little bit and you got to keep on pushing forward until you get through it. And then you get the rewards, but nothing's easy. I found that out over and over and over again. I hear people, talk about, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make money doing that. I was like, just do it and let the chips fall where they may. It's the only way.
Yeah, I think that's freaking amazing. And and so, we're lucky. None of us are bragging. We're very lucky that we worked hard and it's all in your head, man. Like if you just really keep being what you want to be.
Yeah.
And doing what you want to do, you'll get there. Like everybody's like, why don't you throwing the Croc show, you don't get bored of it. Man, I don't do it I do it for therapy.
Yep.
For myself.
I love it.
And I think we're all very transparent here. I'm not hiding anything. And we are who we are. We all know what our problems are. We all know what our pros and cons are. And so, this is us therapy for each other, but people can join in and talk with us. And, we need we meet every week, man. How we get to know everybody. We get to keep in touch with each other. So yeah, I wouldn't get rid of it. It's like making music. Music only starts to suck when you have masters, And there's a real good documentary right now on Prince, and I recommend that you watch it. That dude was absolutely probably one of the best people on the planet. Like the things he was doing for people, like he did so much for people, but never told anybody he was doing it.
That's the best kind.
Some of the stuff I found out that he did, I was like, Jesus, nobody ever knew that was Prince. And there were songs that we listened to by other bands, right? That were all written by Prince, and nobody knew it. Nobody knew it. He left a whole thing of what was going on, and somebody from there was a girl band, and I could be wrong, but I want to say it was like Banana Ram or one of them, and he wrote them a whole entire song. He folded it up and he left it on her. When they were leaving a place, he left it for her to do, and it made them. It put him on the map because he wrote it, but nobody knew he wrote it.
Yep.
Right?
That's true.
You need to watch that documentary. Prince was off. They killed him, dude. They got rid of him.
Seems to be a thing. Whenever there's a celebrity, Michael Jackson was another one who was going to reveal stuff, and then like within a week he was dead.
Oh, I mean, a lot of that stuff happened too. But he was just a good person in general. He did a lot for people. He wasn't what people thought, and he a lot of people didn't know that he lost his child after it was born. His whole life was his family and having that baby. And when that baby died, it really destroyed him. They lost it after it was born. His whole life was based on that child.
I could believe that.
I don't know if Jeff will remember. Do you remember when he wouldn't talk in interviews anymore? He just stopped talking.
Yep.
And then he changed his name. Yeah. Because the company owned the name, he changed it. He's like, you took everything from me, and that's why he went by the symbol. Because you can have Prince, but you can't have this. You're not taken from me anymore. Because anything he did was so intense and so over the top, like he would sell. They stole it from him. But Bernie, before we go, we're getting questions real quick about, and Judy's asking about the elephant story. Can you want to tell us something sad? Is it a sad story to end on?
No, it's not sad. So quickly, the elephants actually are used locally within a lot of locations and areas because of how intuitive they are within the nature and understanding of their surroundings, that a lot of times if there is an earthquake or a tsunami or environmental disaster coming, the elephants will actually come into villages to prepare the people, to warn them of these things are coming. It's a certain way that they communicate with the locals, and locals have learned that communication technique from the elephant. So they learn that from the elephants that this is coming, and they know how to prepare for it. So a lot of times, even like in India, there was a gentleman who I believed he rescued the elephant when it was younger from poachers. But he ended up taking the elephant, and in his passing, they had him in like kind of a nursing home style room. But the doorway really wasn't large enough for the elephant, but the elephant refused to let his caregiver die without him being next to him. And he paced for 3 or 4 days until one day, which was actually the day of his passing. Before he passed away, the elephant actually climbed into the doorway to come in and lay next to his caregiver until he passed, because he felt that he needed to be present with him. So he actually forced himself through, got down on what would be like his elbow region, and literally like crawled on the floor on his belly to get to his owner so he could lay with him.
So it's, because we're running out of time, and I think that story's good, Brittany. So let me just say this. Here's a theory for you. Sometimes those animals are people from our past, and they want to get back to us. And that's the physical vessel that soul got at that time. And I think there's some truth to that. And I'm not saying, I don't want everybody to go freaking out about reincarnation, this and that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying whatever it is we do and however it goes, sometimes I think that your spirits, we knew the people that we love today before we were born.
Mm-hmm.
So I really believe that. And I think that, Jeff knew all of his children in the past. in spirit before he was even born, and
Yep,
we're
and I
together.
still had him anyway.
And here's our journey, right? And so I think there's a lot to that too. I think animals are like that. I think some animals come back as different animals because they just want to be with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well, there
Because
was an animal.
we've been snuffed too long we don't really understand how it works, and we just been snuffed out.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
in closing, I kept this one case. There was several others we could talk about later, but
Mr. Ed, I've been waiting for this one.
No. There was one particular case that I just thought was so awesome, and it was a cat in a nursing home in Rhode Island who became kind of the nursing home cat, and they kept him because this cat knew, like, every time when a patient was going to pass away, and would go in and climb in bed with them and keep them comfortable in death. And so they would follow the cat to watch. Yeah, well, I mean, it was just in this nursing home, animals really weren't welcome, but this one cat just kind of bonded to the team. But this animal would literally go in, sense when the person was getting near death, and would go and lay with them and comfort them and help them pass. So they kept the cat until he died. He was famous. His name was Oscar, because it helped the nursing staff with a lot of their patients, but it also helped the patient cope in death, like when the death came. So the cat had an intuitive way of knowing, and to date, nobody really knew how Oscar knew, but he always knew when a patient was going to die, and hours to a day before would go and lay with them.
I wonder if it's a smell thing, that people maybe start to decay a little bit before their functions actually cease.
Yeah, their chemicals change.
Their essence changes, and their temperature changes and everything.
And your aura too. Your aura will change 100%.
I believe it.
I think animals can see that too.
It's crazy. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Britt.
No, that's okay. Just on cats alone, cats were known as the spiritual animal, the connection between us and the other side. That's always been something that had been proven, that had been documented for centuries. That's why even in Egypt, they were so honored and highly looked upon, because the knowledge that they had, even though they were so small. And so I firmly believe that there's something about cats. I think it's their vision. I think they can see through the dimensional planes that we can't. I would love that scientific testing to actually be done, because I truly believe that it's not necessarily a scent. I think they see physical beings around somebody, and they know that they're not from this world, and they're there with them to help them from this world to the next. Like, if you were to ask me, that's my theory.
Here's something for everybody as we leave, because we'll say, you got anything, Jeff? You were talking.
I was just going to say, I not too long ago, I was reading stories about dogs that dial 911 for their, accidentally dial 911 when their owner happens to be having a heart attack. The dog knocked the phone off and hit 911 with his paw.
Interesting, isn't it?
That blows my mind. It's like, if it happens once in a lifetime, it's a coincidence. If it happens 10 times or 20 or 30 times, it's a thing. You know what I mean?
Look up Ralph the dog. He was in my notes tonight. Look up Ralph the dog. He was famous for typewriting. He could type out sentences and words, and he taught himself. Nobody taught him. Ralph the talking dog.
I believe that. And so, like, there's a lot of animals on the planet, and just really look and see how many animals actually have a vertically slit eye. Right? Cats being one of them. Big cats don't have it. Big cats have a round pupil.
Mm-hmm.
House cats, they got slit eyes. You know what else has slit eyes?
Reticulated pythons.
So when you look at a fox, them too. But if you look at a fox, that's why they look so mysterious. Their eyes are slit. A lot of people don't realize that. Foxes have the same eyes, and they're night creatures. And they go back, and there's a lot of mythology with animals that have slit eyes. And I think that there's something to that got lost in the mix somewhere. 100%.
Foxes have been revered and worshipped as well. A lot of like Native American cultures, the South American. The fox,
they have a slit eye.
Spiritual animal.
And they have a slit eye. There's something about the spiritual animals with slit eyes. It's interesting. I was reading on it and thought it was cool. So anyways, guys, thanks for coming out to the Motley Croc Show. We appreciate everybody coming out and talking with us and leaving comments and hanging out, especially you guys showing up to the show and hanging out with us as always, Jeff and Brittany. I appreciate you here. And it's always a great time, and we love seeing everybody. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll start having something to talk about.
Bye, Michelle.
Good night, folks.
Good night, guys. Good night, James.